any tweeters out there tonight, our hashtag is hashtag WINspire, and our handle is GNCC_win. Now I would like to direct your attention to the screen for a welcome message from Chingy Ray and E.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chinyere Eni, and my pronouns are she or her. I'm the Regional Vice President for Business Financial Services at RBC, and it's such a pleasure to have the opportunity to highlight the importance women entrepreneurs and business owners play in the Niagara region on behalf of RBC. I've seen firsthand that the women running small and local businesses in our communities across Southwestern Ontario are nimble and innovative. They know how to navigate change, which is critical now more than ever as they're tested like never before to survive and thrive. Serving female business owners has been and continues to be a priority for RBC. And events like this are the intersection of so many things that are important to the bank, supporting local, enabling business leaders in our communities, and uplifting women entrepreneurs. It's a fact that on average, women entrepreneurs have more profitable businesses. And women entrepreneurs and business owners contribute to the overall health of the Canadian economy. And RBC in Niagara wants to be there, supporting and enabling you and other Canadian women and their businesses by uplifting and celebrating your entrepreneurial vision. We take great pride in connecting and supporting women entrepreneurs from coast to coast to coast who share vision and a relentless passion for pursuing their dreams. We're truly invested in supporting women entrepreneurs, which is why we're longtime partners of Women in Niagara and the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce. I want to share my sincere appreciation for the incredible partnership and congratulate Women in Niagara on your outstanding efforts towards advocating for women in business. You've truly made a lasting impact in communities across this region. Thank you so very much, and I hope you have a wonderful evening celebrating, learning, and connecting.
Thank you so much again to RBC for your support of women in business. This event would not be possible otherwise. I hope you all had a chance to visit our vendors, and a special thanks goes to Montfree's Rum Cakes, Luscious Gifts, Kangen Water, Niagara Ice Dogs, TD Commercial Banking, Edward Jones, Lua Candy, and the Pathstone Foundation. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce the members of WIN Council. If you're here, please stand or give a wave. Ruth Unrau, Leadership Development Coach, co-founder, and our past chair. Vice Chair Jamie Giles, TD Commercial Banking.
She's in the back.
Leslie Calvin of Leslie Calvin Coaching. Cheryl Matthews, Canadian Tire Bank. Marcia Young, St. John's Ambulance. Isabella Camillo, Goodman School of Business. Nora Chow of Innovate Niagara. Cheryl Johnson, Sullivan Mahoney LLP. Sarah Pertula, Community Crew. Melanie Sadka, Capacity Creator Corp. And of course, Karina Massacott, our Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce staff liaison. Women in Niagara fosters the growth and success of women in business. WIN provides strategic and tactical direction to support the Council's mission and strategic priorities. Responsibilities include identifying issues relevant to women in Niagara and providing strategic guidance to address these challenges and opportunities. So please take the time to meet them and network with our Council members. If you have any feedback on any WIN programming or any ideas, they will gladly listen and take it back to our meetings for consideration. I would like to now introduce our interviewer for the evening. Ruth Unrau co-founded Women in Niagara back in 2001 and is a strong voice for women in our community. She continues to serve as an active and involved member of the council. Ruth is a small business and leadership coach, an event MC, and radio host. She has assisted over 1,000 new and emerging businesses through planning and startup phases. She has worked with several high-profile Niagara-based events as an MC and interviewer, and also hosts a weekly show, Niagara Made, on 610 CKTV Talk Radio, where she interviews local entrepreneurs and business owners about their challenges and successes. In addition to WIN, she also volunteers for many Niagara-based organizations, including as the chair for the Pathstone Foundation Board and vice chair of the Niagara Region Women's Advisory Committee. Please join me in welcoming Ruth. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our special guest tonight. Kim Rossi was born and raised in Niagara Falls. She has also lived and worked in Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, and a few places in between. With a rich 20-year past in on-air and on-camera radio and TV, 7 years ago, Kim switched gears and found a true passion in the not-for-profit sector. With past experience at Niagara Health and the Canadian Cancer Society's national team, 4 years ago, Kim took on the role as Director of Philanthropy and PR at Pathstone Foundation, blending her radio past with her love of doing good in the community. She is excited to be speaking with our members today about the great work being done at Pathstone, as well as how the community can help further Pathstone's mission of supporting kids in the region the moment they need mental health support. Please join me in welcoming Kim Rossi.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks.
Kim, I think we just hugged without masks on.
I have a green dot on my name tag.
I know.
I know it wasn't specific, but
This
it's like
is
full body access.
This is a lovely arrangement, and I hope I don't knock it over. I really hope I don't. Thank you, Grace. Thank you for the warm intro, everybody. And especially thank you to you, Kim, for being here tonight.
Oh, my pleasure.
It is so good to see everybody's face not in a box tonight on a screen.
Oh, yeah.
So thank you so much for coming out and seeing us tonight and being together. It's wonderful to see everybody in person. And I just want to say that when I was putting my makeup on today to come here tonight, I kind of forgot how. And I thought, my gosh, I've aged like 2 years since I've really taken a close look at myself. And then I thought, well, I actually have aged 2 years.
Funny thing, that calendar.
Yeah,
you know?
since I put makeup on like this.
That's
So
the case.
I feel a bit.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
thank
think
you.
that's the case.
Thank you. So Kim, thank you so much for being here tonight. And I think based on the introduction, you all heard that I was the chair of the Pathstone Foundation Board. So it's not the first time Kim and I have met. Let's just put it that way. So we heard your bio, but let's dive right in. And I just heard, I was going to say, are you from Niagara? But you're from Niagara Falls.
Mm-hmm. So born and raised in Niagara Falls, to Ross and Marianne, at the time, Scotsafava. And that is my true blue last name. Scotsafava. It means bean packer in Italian. Fava being specific. And you know, I always had aspirations of being a lawyer. And my uncle was a Superior Court judge, the late Don Taliano, and we have Linda Walters is also a relative who is also a judge, and a few lawyers and doctors in the family. And so that I thought, well, that's what I'll do. And I only realized a short time after, because my daughter has said the same thing, that, you know, that changes as you know that there are other careers out there. So when my daughter was small, she wanted to be a teacher. And I said, do you still want to be a teacher? She says, no. And I said, well, when did that change? She says, when I found out there was more than being a police officer, firefighter, or teacher. So, you know, they know what they know based on their surroundings. I was in grade 12 English, and it was an English media course, and we did a chapter on radio. And I was forever changed. I said at that moment, I'm going to be on the radio, and there was no looking back.
Okay, so you pursued a career in like radio or journalism, or how did that whole thing?
Yeah, so I went to Mohawk College in Hamilton, graduated within the 2 years that program was running, and I think now they're all about 4 years long. And then got hired at CFRB 1010, which I didn't realize at the time was like, you know, winning the lottery, because it was the largest, and still is the largest news talk radio station in the country. And here I am, this, you know, 18-year-old that needed to take had to take the day off work at RB so that I could go graduate from Mohawk. And so that's where it all began. And a lot of my lifelong and lifetime friends are ones that I met in radio at CFRB as an on-air journalist, news writer, and news anchor.
Okay, so news anchor, and then so from there, did you go? Because you've done morning shows as well, right? Or shows?
Yeah. So
you were on 97.7 Hits FM.
I was. Yeah, and 610. So I left RB after a summer reporting gig, and I said, I'll come back. So I went to Brockville. So when we said everywhere in between, I went to a little town called Brockville. And there's not a lot of people that are from Brockville, but those who are great people. I was there for about 10 months, and then I came back to Niagara and worked at CJRN 710 with Rob White, who I'm sure you all know, and David Dancy at the time, and then went to Toronto for another stint, bounced around a little bit, ended up at my first morning show was actually in Ottawa, my first legit, like, official, I have like co-hosts, we're a team, my name's on the show kind of thing. I was there for a couple of years and then got a call to go and work in radio in Toronto with Steve Anthony doing an afternoon drive show. Actually, Steve's in town today and we're having breakfast tomorrow. We're still like good time friends. I left that afternoon drive show to do mornings with Humble and Fred at Mix 99.9. I was back on CFRB now as more of a present person. I was doing news for Bill Carroll, who is a legend and still is. And then after a couple of years in Toronto, I went out to Montreal and did a morning show there for 9 years. At that time, I, got married, had a daughter. My life was completely, different from what it was when I started. And then it was time to come home, probably about 10 years later. And so we moved back to Niagara about 13 years ago now. And radio has changed a lot, as Ruth can attest to. Even though you haven't been in it 20 years, you know what's happened over the last 5. And that personality-driven station that we used to work for and the bustling newsrooms don't exist anymore. There is one person doing, answering the phone, writing the news, writing traffic, writing weather, doing the sports, pre-recording on 3 different stations or more. That the fabric of what radio was just didn't exist anymore, and I didn't find it fulfilling. So I knew I needed to do something else.
Okay, so tell me about the transition then from radio and journalism to
nonprofit?
Yeah.
It makes no sense at all.
And public relations and fundraising and that sort of thing.
Makes no sense at all. I actually said, what am I qualified to do? I talked on the radio for 20 years. Turns out quite a bit, because I could write and I could network and communicate and relationship build with people. And there's something that you get in radio, which is spontaneity. So you're quick on your feet and you can respond really well in situations, sometimes to the benefit of getting yourself out of trouble, sometimes getting yourself into it. I had a friend of mine that I met in Montreal, and she was running a foundation, a hospital foundation, and she moved to Niagara to take on Niagara Health Foundation, and she said, I'm gonna hire you and make you my major gifts person. And I said, what the heck is that? And she says, oh, it's networking and communications, and you're gonna be great. So after about 3 months, I said, okay, let's give this a roll. And within 3 weeks, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved that I was able to use my connections, relationship building, networking to then inspire people to connect with the cause that we were fundraising for. It was almost like matchmaking. I was finding a project that matched with what they wanted to have an impact on. We were bringing it all together, and it just, it gives me chills to even think about it still, because it was the perfect career for me, because I got to make impact in my community, and I got to work with people that were like-minded, because they were talking to us because they were invested in our cause. So for me, I was hooked. It's never been about the money. It's never been about a title. It's always been about Do I feel reward, and is there passion in what I do every day? Because if there is, then there's who cares if it's Monday or Sunday, although I will say this week I cared that it was Monday because we worked all weekend. But for the most part, it was that act of community. And when I really thought back, my Aunt Nancy Clayton fundraised for cystic fibrosis all her life. Her son Chris, my cousin, had cystic fibrosis, passed when he was 18. And as I looked back, she's like, I love that you were in radio, but I couldn't be more proud of you for the work you're doing now because of the fact that it was her lifelong journey. I was in parades dressed like a clown. I was collecting donation bubbles at the Shoppers Drug Mart and rolling coin for cystic fibrosis when I was 10 and 11 years old. And I had totally forgotten about that whole part of my life. So my philanthropic journey, I guess, started when I was, 10 or 11 years old.
So then you ended up at Passdown Foundation.
Sort of,
Because
yeah.
you did a couple of things, right? You were with Niagara Health,
Yeah.
and Cancer,
Cancer Society in Toronto.
and then you ended up at Passdown Foundation. And I know that you are very passionate about the work that happens at Passdown. So talk to us about coming into that and doing what you're doing.
So Carrie Zafiro will know this, and she's right here at table number 1, appropriate. We went to lunch years ago, and she was at Pathstone, and I don't know where I was. Where was I? Niagara Health? Okay. And I said, I don't know how, but somehow we're going to work together, and I think it's going to be amazing. And so we didn't really work together, but Pathstone was her baby, and I've come in now and made it a teenager. And that's really what's happened at Pathstone. We are a regional, mental health provider for children up to age 18. We are actually in every area of the region now, legitimately, because of the work that the foundation's been able to do from a fundraising perspective, but also the vision of our CEO, Sean Bayless, who said, if we rely on Ministry of Health dollars alone to have us survive, we won't. Well, the wait lists will get bigger, we won't be able to see more kids. We have to come up with an innovative way to be able to see more kids right away because they're out there, and be able to pay for it all. And I said, okay, well, that's the project. Okay, I can go fundraise for that because it's project-based, right? So project, passion, purpose. And so now we have 9 in-person walk-in clinics across the region that are seeing kids the moment they need support. And our crisis and support line, our video counseling, and our walk-in clinic is now all under the same banner of immediate services. So there's no lineup to access, there's no form to fill out, there's no referral that you need. You just go, you just show up there. And we've done a really aggressive push on letting schools know where we are, developing programs for schools, because that's our audience. The kids need to know where to go. They need to be able to open their phone and scan the code that's on the wall and know that they can get in touch with someone on the phone, someone via video, or someone at a walk-in clinic. We're not accessible here as a region yet. I love that the fact that Regional Council is going to do this big transit push and we're all going to be connected someday, which is great. But in the meantime, we have to go to where people are. I don't even know if I answered your question. This is what happens.
No, I know, it's all good. It's all good. I forgot what my question was,
good.
so it's good. Because you still, said stuff, so that's good. But I wanted to ask you about, okay, there's funding from the Ministry of Health, so there's funding from the province, but then there's the foundation, which raises money over and above that.
Right.
So talk to us a little bit about what the provincial government would cover, and then what the extra fundraising is for. I mean, you talked a little bit about the walk-in clinics, but I know there's more than that.
Yeah, there is a lot more. So I basically do it this way. It's a numbers game. I figure by my math. Remember, I was English, writing, etc. But based on my math, about 6,000 kids are covered under Ministry of Health funding. Anything above that is on the foundation. So we saw 9,500 kids in the last 12 months, and now we're at 10,000 in the last 15 months. So that portion we're looking after. The foundation has hired 5 staff full-time to support programs that were being inundated through COVID. Some of them received like a 200% increase in clients. We have a wait list now that would have been much more significant had we not have foundation funding. We have a wellness wall program in 164 schools across the region that was created when my daughter came home from Pink Shirt Day, and I said, so, like, what did you learn? And she said, I wore a pink shirt. And I said, yeah, I know, but like, what did you learn? Like, what'd you talk about? The bullying, not to bully, be an upstander? And she said, no, none of that. So I thought, okay, well, we're Pathstone and bullying happens in schools. It happens everywhere, but it happens in schools. We need to own that. Like, we need to teach kids about what that day is. And then I thought, well, it's got to be bigger than that. So now we consult with high school students and elementary school students about what the issues are in their schools and with their friends. And we've come up with 3 themes for elementary level and 3 themes for high school level. So at the elementary level, the themes this year are back to school prep and stress management. So if you're ready, it reduces your stress. So we talk about tips and tricks on how to get yourself organized, and it's on the wall. It's a 6-foot rainbow, 6 by 5 foot rainbow with all these helpful tips, and it's graffiti style, so it's kid friendly, and there's scan codes, and there's a spot for positive vibes that they can put on these colorful Post-it notes that we include. The second theme for the kids, for elementary school students, was being an upstander. So there's the bullying lesson. And the third one is social media risks and responsibilities. We teach them how to protect themselves, their identity, their privacy, but at the same time also, when they're engaging in social media, how to do it effectively so they protect their heart. A lot of kids are validated by, likes and shares and comments, and they want filters on things, and we have to show them that that world out there, it really shouldn't carry that much weight. We also don't want them to be sharing pictures of themselves either. So that's what that theme kind of tackles. And then at the high school level, MIAC, which is the Mayor's Advisory Council in Niagara Falls, was really instrumental in helping create these themes. There were 13 of them on a Zoom call, and we just talked about everything. And the ones that came out right to the front was, again, stress management and being able to be prepared. And I think COVID, sent everyone in a bit of a tailspin. The second theme is about body positivity. And the third, because we do see a lot of self-harm, we've seen a huge increase in self-harm among tweens and teens at Pathstone, and eating disorders. So we need to be able to support them and show them how to love themselves. And then the third was how to be that person. So we know that typically the kids that are going to be accessing the wall, maybe they don't need it as much, but they know someone who does. So when those difficult conversations come up, we want to be able to give them the tools to have effective conversations, to make sure that they can ensure someone is safe, or give them the resources to where they can get help. So those are the themes this year. We're really proud that it's in 164 schools. We hope to continue to do it year after year. We think it's an effective program. So that's a foundation program. That's another one that, now, this doesn't sound like fundraising, you're thinking. It's not at all. A lot of the things we do in the foundation are not really traditional fundraising. We're not just raising money. We're doing a lot of mission, education, prevention, and awareness work, which is as important, if not more important. We raise the money too, but that stuff is not as, impactful, I feel. We've been able to do some great things with donations for sure, like these programs, but I'm really proud of the programs and the creation of the healing gardens and the outdoor classrooms we have now for kids that are at our school at the Mountain View Center, just stuff like that.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit about the Mountain View Center and what happens in those classrooms, because I think that it's, I don't know if it's unique, but I think it's quite special.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people don't know, we actually run a school in Thorold called the Mountain View Center for Innovative Learning, newly named, or renamed I should say. And it is a school for kids in grades 1 through 8 that are just struggling in a typical classroom setting. It could, we say lagging skill, so it could be a social, emotional, educational setback. So we're taking these kids, we're working with a DSBN teacher and a Pathstone therapist to build them up. to get them ready to go back to their traditional school setting, a stronger student in all of those aspects. And I was speaking with Mark Bassiano about this school in particular, and I said, it's like the little engine that could, but it's a little school. And so I took him on a tour, and he was kind of wowed by all the teachers that were there and the therapists and the work that they're doing with kids. And it's a difficult classroom to be in. Like, you know, things get thrown and said, and, you know, I've been there for a couple of them, and I say to, you know, the people that work there, you guys are angels, because it's not for everyone, for sure. But they do amazing work. And you know, he says, like, what can we do here? And I said, well, I would love to have, especially for that school, outdoor learning and play hubs where they can get the aggression out, the energy out, be calmed in a swing if they need to, climb and discover and be creative if they need to. So that's what we did. We built 2 outdoor classrooms, which are like super cool, made from nature, like tree stumps and shade sails and chalkboards are out there. We've got things for them to play on and climb. And it's not a traditional, like, up the ladder, down the slide. You have to engage all 5 senses in order to play well. And the great part about it is they're not focusing on anything else. They're in the moment. They're focusing on the task at hand. And kids are super creative. If adults get out of the way, the things they come up with and can do, I mean, sometimes they get into trouble for sure. But for the most part, like, they are creative. They don't need our help and our guidance and our, oh, don't step there, you're not going to be able to get out of there. Let them, like, you know, troubleshoot and have their time, and they don't get hurt as much when they're engaged in play. You know, it's funny, we trip going into the gym, but we don't trip at the gym. Same sort of thing. Right? We're all tripping going into the gym?
Yeah. Clearly, Kim, there's work between you and the agency and the community in order to understand what's happening with the kids, what they need. Mm-hmm. I know that you, especially during pandemic, you identified the need for the eating disorder clinic, increased need for the walk-in clinics, all that sort of thing. So how do you work then with the agency to ensure, or the community, to ensure you know what the community needs for youth mental health?
Yeah, we have a great management team, so I say to them every year, give me the projects. Like, tell me what your programs need. Tell me how we can do this better. Tell me how we can be more innovative. You know, Bill Helmetzi, he's got a very long title, but I just call him the Director of Mental Health, but it's like Strategic Partnerships and Research and da-da-da-da. It's a very impressive title. But he is like, he looks like Bill Nye the Science Guy. So now you've got a visual. And he's like, well, we could do this thing, and it's like CBT, VR, and work with teens. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This sounds really cool, but like, what are you talking about? And it's a cognitive behavioral therapy program that is with technology, as in virtual reality, where you put on those headsets and you're immersed into a fictitious digital world. And we're doing therapy that way. And kids are more likely to finish the program because it is so cool. They want to come, they're engaged, they're sharing more, they're talking about their emotions because it's them, but it's not really them, but it's them. There's even a way to even look at kids that self-harm through virtual, because they can't really hurt themselves, but they're expressing the feelings as to why. So it's really like, that's the stuff, right? Like that, we want to know why that's happening, and we want to be able to help them in as many ways possible. Like, we just, you know, with kids, you know, how do you get them to eat their vegetables? Well, you chop it up really small and put it in a cookie. Like, that's what this is, right? This is us getting creative with how kids really want to be helped and learn. We all did it, right? We all did the chickpea brownies with the broccoli and we did it. Yeah, tricky.
And I know that you've just come off of Project Plaid, which was big.
Did everyone hear about Project Plaid? Yeah, that's the stuff, right? Yeah, Project Plaid is a remarkable day now. Like, we have a mental health day in Niagara now, and it's every Black Friday is Plaid Friday now. That's it. So we're done. Like, we've got our day. Every other post I was seeing on Plaid Friday was about Project Plaid. For anyone that isn't aware, it was a movement started by the family of Amelia DeRoche after her death. We lost her to suicide in February of 2019. And it became the family's mission to not let her light dim. And her signature style was plaid. She wore it everywhere. Work, school, pajamas, didn't matter. She worked at Winter, she went to Brock, she was always in plaid. And so it became Project Plaid. Simple as that. Wear plaid, talk about mental health, donate to Pathstone. We did a lot of talking about mental health that day. I visited a few schools. There were over 50 Niagara Catholic schools that were activated on Project Plaid Day, doing fundraisers, doing coloring in the cafeteria, handing out rack cards of information about our walk-in clinic, wearing the stickers, making donations, $2 to dress out of uniform that day, and they wore plaid. And then there were companies, of course, that joined on, and there were hats. Yeah, we sold like 900 toques. It's great. Like that part of it is great, but really, the messages that came, there's one specific, and I don't remember the woman's name, but she said, my daughter knew Amelia, and they were two peas in a pod. A-type, outgoing, the life of the party, valedictorian, like all of these things going for them, and she struggles with her mental health. And that Project Plaid movement facilitated that conversation between that mother and daughter and getting that help and getting that support. See, that's what it's about. It's about the conversations that we are allowing to have happen in a more fluid way, not just on Project Plaid Day, but all year round. And yeah, if we're going to wear plaid every November to remember Amelia, that's amazing. We're going to remember everyone else that we lost to suicide, because everyone is going to be carrying their own, special reason and meaning behind why they're participating.
I know that the waiting lists have increased again because the waiting lists were greatly reduced or almost eliminated. Mm-hmm. And they've increased a lot because of pandemic. But we're also doing a lot more to talk about mental health and awareness. Do you think that there's a relationship between increased numbers and the increased awareness, or because at least now people are reaching out for help, right?
Yeah.
And they're able to get help. Like, I don't know if everybody knows about the walk-in clinics, but literally you can just walk in. You don't need a health card. You don't need a parent. You can just walk in.
Yeah, true.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so when the numbers go up, I go, oh, but I'm like, it's good. So if we're seeing kids, so if the stat is 1 in 5 children will be affected by a mental health issue, and 70% of mental health issues happen in childhood. So if we're really following that statistic, that's about, I don't know, I think it was 20,000 kids in Niagara. We're not seeing 20,000 kids, but we did see half of them last year. We saw half that number. So yes, the reduction of stigma and all of this conversation, communication, totally, you're gonna have more kids that come forward, and that's a good thing. And hence why the walk-in clinics are there, because the walk-in clinics, we're seeing kids typically for the first time. They're calling for the first time, they're walking in for the first time. Therapy's new to them, they're testing the waters, they're seeing how this feels for them. They may not be able to confide in someone at home. The problem may be at home, who knows? So the access is really important. We can keep seeing more kids as long as we have these access points. Like we can manage the numbers. Now the wait list I will talk about, because brief services is described as 6 sessions or less of mental health support. That's typically recommended when there's a little more than walk-in clinic work required, but a little less than like a full-blown long-term program. It's a really effective, innovative, efficient program. It helps kids, but not when they're waiting for it. So right now, we've got about 297 kids waiting for brief. It increased astronomically through COVID because we had reduction in capacity numbers. We usually would see kids in brief in group settings. So we could see a number of them at the same time. And okay, we're all dealing with anxiety. We're gonna talk about anxiety today. We're gonna work on our anxiety. That had to go away when COVID happened. So now all these kids are being seen one-on-one. We only have so many people. So we've added 2.5 more staff to the brief services program, basically doubling it. Each caseworker will take on 50 clients at a time. They will constantly carry a caseload of 50 because it's 6 sessions or less. So we can move through it quite quickly. But, we're coming into winter. If there's, trouble with weather, parents can't always get to the appointments. Logistically, we'd love for it to take 6 weeks to do 6 sessions, but it could take 12 or 18, just depends. But that is our like immediate focus. So right now, any donations going to brief services support that program. Anything coming to our annual fund right now is being designated, and I tell donors that in a reply email. We're taking your annual fund donation, we're putting it here, and this is why. So that they know where the money is going and what it's helping. So yeah, it's a good problem to have that we have more kids, but it's a bad problem to have if you can't see them all.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've had to make some changes in the way you're approaching fundraising and philanthropy during pandemic, because you can't have the events that you did, but we're getting back to it as we're witnessing here tonight.
Yeah.
What are some of the things though that you've done, and do you think that there are any changes that you've made in the way you approach it that will stick?
Yeah. So pandemic happens, casino closes. Guess we're not going to have a gala. So as soon as the casino closed, and I hadn't signed a contract yet, but I had signed a guest speaker, we thought, well, should we wait? And I'm like, nah, just cancel it. Let's make it a live stream event. So we were the first ones to do a live stream in Niagara, and it was with Gary Chapman, the author of the 5 love languages. Does everyone know what their love language is? Acts of service. Please empty the dishwasher. What's yours?
I can't remember actually.
Really?
Yeah.
What's yours?
Touching.
Oh, physical touch.
What are they?
Way to go.
What are
So, physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, gifts. I really wish that was mine. It's not. It's like the lowest one. And then I always forget there's one more. What? Time. Oh, spending time. Spending time. Yeah. Quality time. And I think through COVID, maybe everyone's love language changed a little. Quality time. No, I'm good, thanks. Got enough of that. Seriously. So we did a live stream. We ended up netting like 65 grand, thanks to generosity from RBC. They were our title sponsor. Yeah. And then we ended up doing a couple more things. We did like wine, dine, and drive-through because you couldn't stop. So just keep driving and pick up the stuff and then go have a picnic lunch. We did Market Square Summer Social just this past, well, it was Market Square Spring Social, and then it became Market Square Summer Social, and almost became Market Square Fall Social. So we had to keep pushing it because of the restrictions. And so we ended up having that obviously at Market Square, and that was a cool event. And there are things that we would keep now. We like the idea that people created their own circle and we put them with a host and they guided through all the vendor experiences. So it was basically a food and wine and more food party. And then we sent you off to have your own private dinner with your group at one of our 4 participating restaurants that were all in the downtown. So it caused us to think really creatively. Logistically, it wasn't super fun because we were always sending people to different spots because they couldn't be in one place very long. But I liked the personal experience that they got at Market Square Summer Social. And the people that are sampling the food and prepping the wine and doing all of that got to actually talk to the guests instead of them just, we've been to Cuvée and Ice Wine Gala, you just pick it up and go and talk with your people. Well, you're already with your people. So we got to go through those vendor experiences and get a really good connection with the wineries and with the restaurants and find out what they're all about and then go back and visit them. So that part I loved. So if we talk about gala or another, I really like that part of it, so we'd want to keep it. Online fundraising became important, right? Hospital did 50-50, community care did 50-50, we tried Catch the Ace, but fail. Hospice Niagara did Catch the Ace, so doing really well with it. So everyone kind of got onto that online lottery thing, and we decided to try a pop-up project. So it was like a crowdfunding, it was all online, we're like, let's give it a shot. And Tasha, in the back. So can you hold up the worry monster? Look, I even brought a prop. See that little thing? It's called the Very Hungry Worry Monster. And so 42% of our clients over the past year were ages 6 to 10, which is huge. That was almost double the year before. And they were struggling with anxiety, and it's because their friend group is at school. And when school got canceled, their friends went away. And so they were worried about their friends, and they were worried about their family. And they were carrying, quote unquote, one 6-year-old, Rose, I have 15,000 worries. 15,000. And she said, I'm worried that my house is going to break into pieces. I'm worried that something is going to happen to the world and we won't be ready for it. And this is a 6-year-old. So with that story, my colleague Michelle had a dinner party with friends, and her one friend Loretta, who has a child, had this little worry monster. She goes, "What is that?" She goes, "Oh, it's a worry monster. Got it at Chapters." And so she says, "Let me take a picture of that." So she took a picture of it, brought it into the office. I said, "Oh, we're going to do a campaign with this." So we contacted Chapters Indigo. We ordered like hundreds and hundreds of worry monsters. We launched this online campaign to put a very hungry worry monster into the hands of a child struggling with anxiety at Pathstone. We hit our goal in 2 days. It was a 14-day campaign. And then we set another goal. We're like, I don't know, set another goal. Set another goal. 2 days later, we hit that goal. I'm like, well, I don't know, just keep going, just keep doing it. So it was a modest campaign, but the impact to the community, with the community, was amazing. And we still get testimonials. That was in April. We're still getting testimonials about the impact that the worry monsters have had on kids at Pathstone who go home with one. So the concept is they write down their worries and they put it in the monster's mouth, and now the monster's got the worries. The monster's going to take the worries. And, you know, there are kids coming in, and actually one of the therapists said, "Oh, I didn't know you were afraid of, let's say, spiders." I can't remember exactly. And she said, "Oh no, that's not my worry, that's my friend Sophia's." So this girl was now carrying the worries of her friend. So it really is something. And again, that's a fundraising effort with significant impact and meaning. It touched lives. We saw it in the kids. We saw it in the parents that were sending us notes. We never would have done a pop-up campaign, crowdfunding, whatever it was called, had we not had the pandemic. Never even would have dawned on me or us. And you know, Michelle's in the foundation, and I say I a lot. Well, no, I say we a lot, but you might not know who I'm talking about, and it's Michelle Bejan. She and I work together at Canadian Cancer Society. When I came to Pathstone, I said, "I'm coming to get you." And it took me 9 months, but I got her, and we're just a team of 2 in there.
And you're doing amazing things, and you're clearly articulating here that you have to be very entrepreneurial. And I know we're all sick of the word pivot.
Unless it's a couch up a stairway. Everyone's seen it, right? The Friends episode. Pivot.
But you had to do a lot of that,
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah.
Kudos to you on that. So what do you see in the future of in a hopefully post-pandemic world for this thing called philanthropy and fundraising? You're going to be keeping a lot of this stuff, you think?
Some of it, for sure. Like pop-up campaigns are good. And you know, there's a couple of things. We got some new donors. We had more new donors, individual donors, through COVID than we've ever seen in Pathstone's history. It was up about 40%. Not the amount of donations raised, but the amount of people. So that's something.
Yeah.
And online is really quite significant. We're gonna play around with some new technology in the new year. Like, I've got some stuff that I want to like mess around with. We got a new project that involves youth philanthropy, so your kids can plan events for us. We're going to teach them how, build them up, and then let them go. So that's going to come in April. So we've got like some fun stuff. For sure. So that's future. For me, future is 2022. That's
Right, yeah, that's as far as you're going?
I can get you to know this time next year, and that's about it.
It's pretty hard. I heard on a news story today where they were talking about, I think it was the increased demand at food banks. And they were talking about during the first year of pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, holy, right? Like, I just couldn't believe they were talking about it in terms of during the first year of pandemic. We're almost done the second year.
I know.
Anyway, it's too much. Okay, we're gonna pivot.
Okay.
It's a tradition with our WINspirations that we end with the Inside the Actor's Studio 10 questions. My faves.
All right.
So we're gonna find a little bit out about Kim Rossi here tonight. So Kim, what is your favorite word?
OMG. I know it's like 3 words, but altogether, OMG, I do that a lot.
What is your least favorite word?
No. What is that? Yeah, I don't know that.
What turns you on?
Like acts of service, I'm not kidding. So if I come home and dinner's already made and I didn't do it, I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. So that's
okay.
Yeah, that's the turn on for sure.
What turns you off?
Knuckle cracking. knuckle cracking.
Oh, well
Yeah.
then this will be an interesting one. What sound or noise do you love?
That's a good question. What sound or noise do I love? Anyone?
Rain
Oh yeah, I love music. I love live
waves.
music. Oh yeah, beach waves crashing, because that's actually how I go to sleep.
Okay. What sound or noise do you hate?
The alarm clock. Yeah.
What is your favorite curse word?
I'm not gonna say it though. I'm just gonna like mouth it.
You can say it.
Yeah.
I think you kind of have
Well,
to say
okay,
it.
I just-
Brad'll bleep it out.
I actually don't. I say Jesus a lot, but G with the G. G-E-E-Z-U-S. Yeah.
What profession, other than your own, would you like to attempt?
I think pilot.
What profession would you not like to do?
Dishwasher.
And finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I've got a project for you.
That's perfect. That's a perfect end to our WINspiration. Where's Karina?
Oh, right on time. Look at that. Like a radio
Question?
bit. We had to be in and out at a certain time.
I think I'm gonna steal.
Yeah, take that.
Okay, we got time for a question or two, if anybody has one for Kim. Yep.
Kim, your speech is outstanding. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Our numbers in Niagara, how do they relate to different areas across Canada? Are we very similar, or are we much higher? And if we're much higher, do we know the reason why?
Yeah, I think we're right in the same spot that everybody is. So there's we see a lot of research out of McMaster in Hamilton and Children's Hospital of Eastern Ontario, so CHEO in Ottawa, and we're at the same place. The self-harm numbers and the eating disorders among young adults, or like tweens and teens, so like some of them as young as like 9, 10, 11 years old. Cutting kits have been found in rooms, like it's really something. And the anxiety among little people is totally like, we're following along with what everyone else is seeing too.
Anybody else? Yes?
How do you manage to stay so sunny when you deal with such tragic circumstances?
Yeah, I think it's a birth defect, and honestly, it's I don't have another state of mind, to be honest. We have to see solution, and actually, when you said what do I hate, what I don't like, I don't like, you know, coming in with a problem with no opportunity for solution. Like there's always got to be an opportunity to do something different. Let's get creative, let's get innovative. You know, those personality traits. I'm an orange, so we are not into minute details. We're like big picture people, and so you surround yourself with people that can deal with the minute details. But yeah, it is serious stuff, but we do a lot of really good things, and we see a lot of feedback. I got a text message today, a friend of mine, her daughter's now seeing a therapist at Pathstone. They've had 2 sessions, they're connecting, they're like, she thinks she's super cool, and she can relate to her, and I'm like, yeah, that's the stuff, that's what we want to hear, that's good news. So it's helping. Yeah.
And if anybody has any more questions about Pathstone, we do have Pathstone.
Tasha is in the back.
In the back there, and she's got the little worry monster over there. So Kim, thank you very, very much.
Thanks for having
This has been
me,
great.
honestly.
Thank you.
Thank
It's okay
you so
now,
much.
Grace.
That was great. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
On behalf of the Women in Niagara and Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce, we would like to extend a sincere thank you to Kim for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
And as a token of our appreciation, just
have a
to
parting
get the
gift.
holiday season going.
I haven't had one yet, so now I have a whole bottle. Thank you. Ooh, that's a nice one. Cab Merlot, one of my faves. Thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you for being here. And in closing, I'd just like to say thank you to the GNCC staff, WIN Council, and our WIN Events Subcommittee, which includes Laura Byers, Kristen Smith, Sandra Stokes. Thank you to RBC and our vendors, as well as Ravine Vineyard and their staff. Thank you so much for everything this evening. This is lovely.
And that pizza.
And so now I'm going to call Karina and Savannah up, and we're going to do some prizes. Tickets to an ice dog game. Here.
Kim, 1, 2, or 3?
Kim Rossi. 3. Tasneem.
Yep.
Okay, the next one is a $25 gift card to the post office with Shannon Passero.
A little later.
Sandra Stokes. The next one is some more tickets to the Ice Dogs game.
Gary, 1, 2, or 3? 3.
Dylan Hart. A sunscreen company, and it's a complexion, facial, skincare, and beauty gift pack.
1, 2, or 3, Ruth? 2.
Daniel St. Jean. We just want to say thank you so much to each and every one of you for being here this evening, being in person again, truly having 2 events in person over the past few weeks has really been remarkable. So I'm feeling all the feels and so excited for 2022, and we just hope to see you all again very soon so we can get together and continue this great progress forward. So we wish you all very happy, safe and happy holiday season.